Okay, so good morning to everyone, and thank you for joining. I'm Elena del Corro, and I'm a scientist from CSIC in the same institution as Maria. So Maria gave a very nice overview of all the process, so I will focus more on the mental process to get to the idea of the ERC. That for me was the key work to prepare this proposal. And I see that your questions are or interests are broad, so I will try to be very fast so that we have as much time as possible for questions. But I wanted to start by encourage you to watch all these type of videos and help videos that you may find in other groups, like in the ERC webpage or from Faceit or everything, and try to do this at different stages of your proposal preparation, because I think that the info that you will get, depending on the moment where you are, will be different and always useful. So you will have a lot of time of reading and of writing. And usually when I did breaks from this, I watch these videos because each of us tell you different things, even if they are from other discipline. As you see from Maria presentation, there is a very common tips that would be useful. So as I say, I will focus more on the idea, because, depending on the call, the idea, not all the ideas or a single idea as it is useful for all the type of calls. And ERC is a special one because it's a 5-year project, so it's long, but it's an individual grant, so it has to be led by you and only by you, and this make the idea a bit special, no? So first, in terms of size, as I say, even though it's a 5-year, we are scientists, we know that when we try to solve a question, most of the times what we do is we open 100 new more questions. So sometimes, and this mental process that I will share with you is not only for those, like in my case, wanted to write an ERC but have no idea about what to write. Also for those who think that have super clear the idea of the ERC, I think it's good always to rethinking and to reshape it with the thinkers, no? Because as I say, sometimes or you have an idea of the biggest challenge in your field that needs to be solved, but this could be a very broad challenge. Also, as I say, for an individual grant that, of course, needs to be multidisciplinary, but you have to lead all these fields. Some other times I hear from other people what they have is a little or smaller questions, wanted to try novel approaches and try to merge them to build an idea. So I would say that somewhere in between has to be the ERC idea, and I will show you with my own experience later on to explain better. And then this idea, as I say, has to fit with you. So these are for me the two questions that I keep on having along all the process of the proposal preparation. And for me, that's the way where your CV will be evaluated. No, because I say this because I hear from people that say that you have to have the best CV, as much publications as possible, a lot of preliminary data. I would say that I'm the living proof that this is not true, because I didn't have any of this. And for me, if you have an idea and you are convinced of your idea and the idea is timely, you have to go for it. No, because I listen. I apply for the consolidator. I could not apply for the starting by a question of a couple of months, and because before of that I didn't have the idea or the time, because as Maria says, you need a lot of time to prepare this. So I didn't have it, and I didn't never thought about the ERC. And this is feedback that I got, no, that maybe I was too young, that I have to wait a couple of months, build up a bit more CV to show independency and so on. But I think that That's not completely true. As I say, I got it and I didn't fulfill any of these requirements. For me, if you are convinced, as I say, of the idea, you have to go for it. Because the way the CV is evaluated is to you have to demonstrate with your CV that you are capable of doing what you are proposing in your ERC, and that's the only thing that the evaluators will look at. As I say, it's an individual grant, but it doesn't mean that you cannot place collaborations. In fact, I place up to 3, so it's a lot. But they have to be very well defined in which task and what expertise do you need. And even though it's not your full expertise, but that you are the one that know what you want to get and that you will lead this task. So it is possible. And to explain a bit better, I will tell you a bit about myself. So I did the PhD in the Universidad Complutense de Madrid, and I studied strain engineering of carbon materials. And by the time that I was finishing, the Nobel Prize of Graphene appeared, and then I decided I want to learn more about 2D materials. And then I did 2 postdocs to learn about these materials. So I keep on doing strain engineering, but on graphene and other 2D materials. So I learned about the synthesis and characterization of these materials. Up to here, my research was very fundamental, and I have the chance to do a broad or an important change, because then I joined my current host institution, the ICN2, to a group that developed medical devices based on these 2D materials. But I have to say, and you may know, that doing this change is not always possible for us, no? Because we specialize in very specific things, and sometimes it's not easy to change that much. And that is what it makes difficult to find an ERC idea that is multidisciplinary and it fits with you and your background. But with this background, then when I start talking with colleagues and reading what were the challenges in my new field, in medical devices development, because it was completely new for me. And then I came to the idea that one of the biggest challenges was to make these devices energy autonomous. And then I say, okay, maybe I could fit there, because one energy harvesting approach is, as you may know, piezoelectricity. So I thought, use piezoelectricity where you strain materials and you fit the medical devices. And then I start reading in this direction. And but soon I realized that for me, piezoelectricity was not the best approach. I learned about a different approach that was triboelectricity, and I have the feeling that this was the best solution to this big challenge, so that I should focus on this. It didn't fit as well to my CV and to my background, but I thought, okay, this is the winning idea, so I have to go for it, and let's see later on how I make visible to the panel and to the experts that I'm the person to do this. So the idea was using triboelectric nanogenerators to fit medical devices. But I found it too broad and I have to shrink it a bit more. So I decided to focus just on medical implants, because triboelectricity is one approach that is good for implants that in comparison with others. So I focus there. And with this, I start preparing the B1. And then I start to share the idea with colleagues. And then is where I realized that it was still too broad. And then I have to redo some of the work. But I say this because I want to tell you that if you, after reading and after sharing with colleagues, you feel that you have to reshape your idea, don't be shy and do it, because I have to say that if you have the feeling, probably the evaluators will have as well. So even if you have started with the documents, as it was my case, always reshape the idea. I think this is very important. So I start sharing, and then I decide to go just for a specific type of implants for stimulation, because I thought, okay, then I fit it and it's done. And still then I keep on sharing. And for this panel, because I'm not engineering, but this is an engineering panel, and someone told me that engineers like numbers and they like key performance parameters, and they like this is the way that they feel the feasibility. So I thought I found impossible to give numbers for such a broad thing. So I still shrink it even more, and I went for a little proof of concept in vagus nerve stimulation. At the beginning, for me, it sounds like too little for 5 years, but as I say, then you start working, and then you realize that there is a lot of work to do. And yes, with this, I was ready to really start working on the documents. So as Maria said, the documentation is there. It has two parts, the B1 and the B2. And the B1 is a 5 pages project, plus your CV and your contributions. And there is where the idea is evaluated, and you, as a best candidate to make this idea possible, is evaluated. And for me, the case was as Maria's. I spent a lot of time on preparing the B1. Even I was a bit stressed because I thought I was running out of time for the B2, but my learning during the process is that don't be stressed, because the B1 really needs to be perfect. I have no more advice for B1, just to make it perfect. And making B1 perfect has many advantages. As you know, if is the only thing evaluated in the first step of the evaluation. So if you get good mark in the B1, you pass to interview phase, and there is where your proposal will be read by experts and more panelists and so on. So of course you have no penalty. You learn a lot from the interview phase. You still get even more familiar with your idea when preparing the interview. But for me, the most important was to get that passing to interview allowed me to get I don't know, 10 or 12 extended reviews and a lot of advices of how to make my proposal better. That because of the topic of the idea, it's not easy to find colleagues in which you trust to share your proposal, that they have time to read the whole proposal with detail and give you feedback. So this is a way to get a lot of expert feedback, and for me it was super useful, because I applied for the first time, I passed to the interview, and I didn't get it, and then I get these reviews, and I have like 3 weeks, and I start to implement it, all the recommendations that they gave to me. And some people say, but Elena, you don't have to do everything. And I said, yes, but they are right. So for me, they are really good experts in reviewing these proposals, and it was for me the way to shape especially my B2, and get the following year the ERC. And then for the B2, for me, the most important advice is to make the life of the reviewer easy. So they will read a lot of projects. They will want to go back to yours to find specific info and so on. So I would give a structure to the proposal, because I have the opportunity to read some of them, and they cannot be 20 pages of just words. So I would use, of course, as Maria said, a conceptual image to present your idea, well-prepared images. In this case, that they're engineering, I use for my second chance tables and this type of things. And then when writing the methodology, I have expertise in preparing other type of proposals. And then what I feel is that for the ERC, the level of detail in your methodology, in your work package, is in the tasks is higher than for other proposals. So for me, what works is some advice that someone told me, that imagine that tomorrow you go to the lab and you have the ERC and you start working on this. What would you do, or what would you and your team would do? And the day after, and the day after, and with this, I made this mental exercise to prepare the methodology. And also this helped me also to think about possible questions, like technical questions, when I pass to the interview. So I think it's a good exercise to put yourself in the situation that you get it. How would you start working just the day after?